guys, welcome to this our final Heralds of the MCU for
now.
WandaVision. Right, for now. That's what I say, not final one, but final one for now as we wrap up WandaVision. I am your host, Maria, and as always, I am joined by my two co-hosts, Manira.
Hi guys. My hand
Fuck
always has
you.
to my hand always has to go up and wave like a weirdo.
And Eric.
Good day.
Ooh.
Giving
He's
you the
feeling
Wanda
froggy
hands.
today. All right, so before we break down the finale as a whole, or break it down, it's actually can be pronounced both ways. Go fuck yourself.
No.
It can.
It's a little too early for the children to be fighting.
No, we can't start yet. No, but they told me to tell you to go eat a dick. Anyway,
That would be the
They
first
would
time.
have said that. I don't know why they would have said that.
so before we get into a breakdown of the episode or of the end of this series, which makes me very sad, what were you guys' feelings about it or about the series overall? And Manira, last week I messed this up, so I will be starting with you. What was your overall take on the series?
It was fantastic. I loved the beginning, the middle, the end. I loved everything about it. I loved everything that we got out of it. We got a Wanda origin story proper. We got a very good closure with Vision, I think, for me. I don't want to speak for everybody else. For the Vision that I believe we come to know. And now we have another one that we can learn and grow with. I mean, we got Monica out of this, so
Monica.
Yay, right? And we got Agatha. Like, it was great. It was fantastic. I loved everything about this series. I'm very sad that it's ending, but I'm very excited to see what comes next. So, yay! I loved it. Thank you.
All right, Eric, you're nodding your head. Did you have some different thoughts?
No, my thoughts pretty much echo Manira's as being very satisfied with this. I was nodding my head at something else that was going on, which is why my mic was muted. I'm extremely satisfied with this. This shows it's kind of a stark comparison to things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which started out okay and like had varying degrees of success over the seasons, but then like you have some of these other Marvel shows, Cloak and Dagger and things like that, where like even Runaways, it had its bit of success, but like we never got to this level because you can see what happens when mommy and daddy put all their attention on one kid, the other kids kind of just fall to the wayside, and they're trying to be as good, but that mommy's special star is going to do better. This is mommy's special star. This is what happens when all the attention and all the resources get put on one project, and it makes me even more excited about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Same.
Yeah, I am also now very excited about Fuckboy and Winter Soldier.
Madam.
That's Captain
You already know.
Fuckboy to you?
Right. Don't do that.
Might be, but y'all already know. I'm really excited with the writing. I'm excited to see what they do with the writing because I think that this show is so well written. Like there's so many little nuggets of dialogue that you can hold on to, and that or at least for me, I feel like are going to come to fruition in one way or another later on in the MCU. And I think that the biggest takeaway for me was what a start, right? Because I think that for a lot of us, now that everything is with Disney, I don't think that we were ever concerned because the mouse don't mind spending money, but there was always, for me, this question of how is this going to work? Now that all of the shows will be with Disney, it's not Fox, it's not, Hulu, ABC, whoever else, it's all Disney. Are we going to see a step up in the level of shows? Or are they going to do them proper? And to Eric's point, we saw what happens when Marvel and Disney is focused on one thing.
The only thing that makes me worry about this is like this sets such a high bar right out of the gate. Can the other shows keep up with it?
I think they can, but I think they're going to do it in their own ways. Yeah. Because they're different. They are different characters. Like Wanda is her own character with her own backstory. Bucky and Sam are completely different characters with their own backstory, and the way that their story is written should be completely different from Wanda's.
Yeah, because tonally they have to be different.
Right.
Like Wanda's story is about her trauma and anguish, and like this didn't really even become a superhero-y show until the last episode. We didn't really get like all that superhero action and people flying and magic, and like you had bits and pieces, but like I expect where something like Falcon and Winter Soldier will focus heavy on the action.
Yeah, it's gonna be nonstop from the beginning.
So I again, they're different genres. They're like. I enjoy them peppering genres across their whole universe. Mm-hmm. So if this is going to be our drama, then I look forward to the action.
I think that the last thing that I'll say before we kind of break into the actual episode is that for me, as excited as I might be for the next show, I'm more excited for the one after in Loki. And the reason being is that I feel like Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that's the only time I'm going to say Falcon and Winter Soldier, not Fuckboy and Winter Soldier.
I mean, when we podcast it, you should probably say his name correctly.
Every episode.
You're not excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier?
Yeah. Yeah, for fuck you. But I think that of all of the series that we know about thus far, that is the one that is closest to the traditional MCU that we're used to. Right? So I don't think that it's going to take Marvel, Disney a whole lot of, like really showing their chops to do this well. Whereas with WandaVision, it was completely out of the norm, completely something different than what they've previously done. And with the Loki series, I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit different as well. It's, again, just going to kind of show the breadth of Marvel, of the universe itself, how diverse the universe is. And it should be really interesting. But I have no doubt that Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be amazing because it's probably going to be so much like the movies that we're used to.
I agree, but I disagree. I agree with that. It should be like the movies that we are used to. However, there should be a bit of... why this black man was chosen to be Captain America, and the world said no.
Yeah, and I've read a lot of the articles, especially one of the head writers who is black, talking about that was one of his main goals to incorporate that into the story. So I'm really excited about that. Like not just the action, because I know Marvel's, these are $100 million series. Right. These aren't Disney Channel or fucking like Hulu. They're putting serious money behind it. And you can tell.
I haven't read anything, so that was news to me. So that sounds.
Yeah, you can tell with the level of like special effects, especially in this last episode with like all the CG going on, some characters being fully CG, things like that. Like they're dropping that money because they know that they're getting those subscriptions.
Are you watching it right now? Because I can see it.
I am. You can see it in the reflection behind me.
Sorry.
You are a fiend, woman. You are a fiend. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and really get into it. And let's start with our witchy ladies. Agatha versus Wanda. Ooh, like that was just ooh. So Eric, I mean, obviously we ladies are excited about this. Like, what did you think about how their battle, which kind of started in episode 8, kind of carried over and finished in episode 9?
I was very impressed. I like a lot of CG, but it's good CG. You can tell when they're doing doubles, but like it's one of those things where if you do it at night, it looks totally different than if you're doing it during the day, which is where most of this episode takes place. Even before Wanda like rolls back the hex. Yeah, no, it looked great. Wanda got a fucking dope new costume, which I'm very happy about.
She looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks really cool. They finally gave her the headpiece proper.
Yeah.
And they even modified it. Like one of my favorite things about these shows has been seeing them take bits and pieces and elements of popular storylines and fit it into their narrative without having to force the narrative of those shows, of those comics into the show, which unfortunately that's where the internet gets so kind of in their feelings, because they're like, oh, well, they did this, but it's supposed to work like this. Like, no, that's not how it works. You can take bits and pieces. Like, if I make a delicious sandwich and you make a sandwich as well, but you take some of my ingredients, it's not the same sandwich. It's still a tasty sandwich. Enjoy the fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
Eat
Now
your
I
sandwich
want
and
a
shut up.
sandwich. I haven't had breakfast. Now I want a sandwich. Thanks, Eric. All right. Yeah, I think that that's a really valid point. With kind of just the overtone, but I
Yeah.
want to get a little
Well,
deeper.
not to mention, like, both actresses have been phenomenal this series. Like,
Yeah.
if I don't see them get some type of Emmy nods for this, I would be sorely disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Is it me? Is it my
Yeah,
turn?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Sorry,
go for
I
it.
didn't want to step on your toes. I genuinely enjoyed that Agatha never really changed her position of I want power. I want the power that you have. I know about the power that you have. You have no business having that power. I should have it. Give it to me. And Wanda never changed her position of I don't know what power you're talking about. I just really want this family here, but you're doing something and you're messing with my family. How dare you? But also showing that she is a quick learner. She was a quick learner in Age of Ultron. Like this isn't right. I should probably change sides. What do you think? And then getting that pep talk from Clint, she changed sides and was able to, obliterate, if not all, of Ultrons. I really enjoyed this fight, and I'm glad that they didn't obliterate Agatha. We kept her.
I was very pleased with that. I was like, don't do that thing where you kill off the villain.
Yeah.
She's been such a good villain, and you want to save someone like that for more important shit. Like, this is important enough because it's an amazing show, but like, yeah, I want to see her again.
Yeah, and it was villain in the I just want power.
Yeah,
like because we still don't know what she wanted to do with that power.
Well, I mean, she seems like she's someone who's been. I don't know if she's been drinking the life force of people to stay young because the first time we saw her was in the 1600s. But like, clearly she has no problem taking what she wants. But at the same time, the real villain of the story is Wanda.
Right, and I enjoy that.
The real villain is grief.
Yeah. So
Grief.
When Agatha started taking the people out of Wanda's like little hex, and they like started when Dottie, or what's her name, Sarah, said, I've got a kid your son's age, they could be friends or bullies, just get her out of the room. So that let us know that's where all the kids were, just stuck in their fucking rooms.
She was like, I can, whatever storyline you want to do, we'll do it. Just, we're in pain.
Right. But also on top of that, when they're like, Lynn, you let us sleep, we have your nightmares. I want to come back to that because I don't know that if you have her nightmares, you should really be looking at her the way that you're looking at her, because you've been living through what she's living through, so you know her type of pain.
Well, yes and no, right? Because that's assuming that they assume her nightmares are tied to any sense of reality or her reality or things that she's experienced, and they're not just nightmares. You know what I mean? So for folks like,
but she's an Avenger in this, what's his name, and they know what that is.
I mean,
well,
yes.
yeah, but still, random nightmares are weird and freaky.
Right.
They don't have to be based on like her trauma and grief. She might just have a nightmare about being chased by a lobster or something.
Right. And not only
that.
but you have to think not only that too. Like the same way in our world there is a hierarchy amongst Avengers, there's probably a hierarchy in their world as well. So while they may know she's an Avenger, do they really consider her a Avenger?
Yeah, especially the main thing that most people know her from is the Lagos attack, where she accidentally killed a bunch of people. She didn't have as Hayward mentioned, she doesn't have a cool nickname up until now, so they just know her as Wanda Maximoff, who was radicalized as a teenager and went to work for Hydra and now is an Avenger. So for the public to not trust her seems reasonable, but at the same time, she's also been torturing these people, even inadvertently for several weeks.
Yeah. The thing for me with Wanda and Agatha that I loved was just magic. Just give me all of the magic.
Yeah.
I felt like their dialogue, the conversation, the introduction of the Darkhold proper, like all of this was really lead up for Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And I loved every second of it because I find it almost impossible to believe that we won't see both of these characters in Doctor Strange.
Well, the nugget that Agatha dropped was, you're on some levels, you're
more powerful than the Sorcerer
Supreme.
And I hope that that's highlighted and underlined and circled. Because the whole
with little hearts around it,
right? She could have taken out Thanos by himself. Is still widely like, well, maybe she couldn't have because girl. No. We saw her doing so don't do that. So that little bit needs to be emboldened and put everywhere so that when it happens in the movie, it's not actually no. We said back then that
we will
she
have
was,
no
so.
mansplaining
Right,
on this one.
yeah.
No. We have
No
physical
mansplaining on this
proof
one.
for
Right,
like a 5-minute scene in Endgame.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I think that between that, building up that area, because I know that they haven't really touched on it yet, and it seems like when you think about what's happening in this phase, it seems a little all over the place, but I don't really think it is. I think that they spent a lot of time in the original phases of introducing us to the straight up heroes and some of the cosmic stuff, but not really a lot of the cosmic stuff. And I feel like this phase is going to be very cosmic and magic heavy, which makes me very happy because that's my favorite part of all of this. So I think that them really letting that dialogue happen, letting Agatha be the embodiment of the big bad, although like Eric said earlier, the real big bad here was fucking grief. But letting her be that and not giving us it was Mephisto all along.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And it made me very, very happy.
Can I just take a second to gloat to the internet?
If you would like.
Fucking wrong. It wasn't Mephisto. It wasn't some other cosmic or fucking magical deity. Enjoy the story you're given. Eat your fucking sandwich. Stop trying to add shit.
Well, that and theories are fun, but at the end of the day, you're not the writers. So,
Quit trying, like every fucking YouTube video that I see that says, this is why it's Mephisto. It's not. You're wrong.
Oh, their tears. They taste so good today. So good.
So delicious.
Hot cup of tears.
I mean, when you... The fun of theories is to have theories as someone who theorized.
Yes.
The fun of theories is to have theories, and then when they're not right, be like, oh, well, this makes more sense. Mine was fun, but this is fun as well. I don't, it's not, you're not getting paid for them. At least I'm not getting paid for them. No. So when they don't come true, I'm not
the guys that are making these clickbait videos are getting paid for them by people clicking on them because they're like, oh, well, I need to see why this guy's right.
Yeah,
right.
But also... You've built a community and you have a group of friends on the internet that you can talk to.
Fuck community. No, that's not what it's about. It's about being right, Manira.
Oh.
See,
I don't do theory right.
I think we need Eric to help mansplain how this works because clearly you don't understand it. It's about being right.
I mean, being right is a really good feeling.
Man,
you know
fuck
that.
Those
Everyone
guys.
knows that. But at the same time, fuck those guys.
Yeah, I was happy that we as a show were right about the idea. And we weren't even right. We were asking for it. So thank you, Mouse, for giving us what we wanted and letting it just be Agatha, which feels insulting to say just be. Because did you see that bitch?
Yeah.
Black fingers, purple flying, the whole nine. Like, she's amazing.
Yeah, and they took a lot of hints from her comic book costumes and things like that, and they modified it for Catherine Hahn. And a lot of this should be on Catherine Hahn for delivering an amazing performance.
She's going to be a fucking problem when Wanda lets her back out.
Oof, yeah, she is.
And I can't wait.
Yeah, she is. Also, really quickly before we move on to the visions, what did you think about the big Ralph reveal, Manira? Because I know you were feeling some kind of way about Ralph the whole time.
I
was so happy that was what it was. Like Ralph, like that's another one where they just shit on the internet theories about Evan Peters playing the character. Like, oh yeah, he's from the X-Men dimension. No, he's a fucking broke actor named Ralph Boner who lives in New Jersey.
Listen, as much as I want mutants in the MCU, I'm fine with this too. If all of my theories were debunked, I don't care because I enjoyed what I got.
Well, I feel like Disney purposely casts Evan Peters to blow up the internet with that theory. Showing up at the end of that episode, people were like, "Oh my god, this proves it."
Didn't prove shit.
Didn't prove it, but we got you. We got you talking.
And you know what? And I was fine with all of that because I very much enjoyed the ride.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about last week, to mutant or not to mutant, mutants are not off the table
It's
yet.
not, no.
And again, to Eric's point, which I did agree with, which is do it slowly. It doesn't get any slower than this. So I'm all for it. But the twist with Ralph was a nice little fuck you to all of us. And I actually enjoyed it. It was nice. It was nice to not know, because that's the whole thing. What the fuck is the point of watching the show if you already know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make any sense. So
exactly.
Let
the writers do their job.
Let them do their job, and they did the Lord's work with this. So let's move on, because as amazing as Wanda and Agatha were, the visions. Oh my gosh.
You know what
Eric.
I loved about the visions? The fact that their fight wasn't even a real fight.
No.
He fought him with logic. It was the most robotic thing you can do, and I was like, it's the Theseus argument, which is also, if you've ever read John Dies at the End, it's the same thing about the axe. You know, if you replace pieces of the axe and eventually every old piece is replaced with a new piece, is it still the same axe? He broke his brain with logic, and I was like, this is the fight that I want. Like, it made sense for him and Ultron to go up against each other, because Ultron, you know, was an emotional robot and had his own shit going on. But like, Vision knows Vision. He's like, you're me. I know you. You know me. Let's talk about this. We don't have to fly around. We don't have to punch and shoot at each other. They're like, that's clearly getting us nowhere.
Literally just sitting in the library, which I thought was
library.
very apropos, floating around each other.
Having a thought argument.
Having a thought argument in the most snarky of British ways was just amazing.
I also like the work that they did on White Vision's costume. There are so many little tiny subtle changes to his costume to make him look a little bit more aggressive. Like, not just the coloring and things like that, but like there's extra lines added to his face and extra lines added to like his suit and things like that. It's such a good job, because you could have just been like, oh, palette swap Vision, boom. I also do enjoy that the internet saying that White Vision was just born but already has an 800 credit score.
They're not wrong, though. He, and another one, kudos to Paul Bettany, because he played the exact same character, completely different.
Yep.
There was a clear difference between the two Visions outside of how they looked.
And it sounded like his voice got a little bit, like 2 octaves deeper.
Yep, there was a difference in the voice.
They robotically made it a little, like, more robotic, but also he sounded like he was being a little more snarly.
Yeah, and then just the facial expressions. They were, to Eric's point, very outside of the makeup, the expressions, his eye movement, everything was so subtly different that it was...
When he realized that he was a pawn, I was like, oh no, baby. Oh no, baby.
And I also like that, like, he wasn't like, oh, well, I'm fake and you're real.
Right.
Because he was like, well, there's not an ounce of me is actually real.
Right.
And you're just you're a dead body, but like as a synthesoid, you should still have access to all your memories. Let me help you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that was so nice.
So we
really
did
nice.
get the Vision back, the real Vision, and he has all of his memories. And I'm interested to see where that goes.
I wanted them to just fuse right there. I wanted a little fuse and shimmy.
I did, but at the same time, it would have taken away from Wanda's version of the Vision and their like super emotional ending, which was like chef's kiss to that, to the writers. And even like him knowing that he wouldn't be able to stay and like telling her like, you'll sort it out, but not for us.
For us, right.
I was like, oh no, don't do it. You motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Right. Tear coming down. And then the whole like, I've been this, I've been that. Who knows what I'm going to be
this
next
time?
Oh, no.
Fuck.
That was not even with the kids as well, like tucking them in and everything.
That little Wiccan with his fucking face and those big
so
eyes. God, he's so cute.
He's
so cute. Oh. Oh, I want to see that baby again. He's so cute.
Well, I feel like this is the perfect segue into let's talk about Wanda and this family. For all intents and purposes, Wanda doesn't have a family anymore.
No.
Which makes me very, very sad. But let's talk a little bit about how much just the family unit played in these battle sequences and everything towards the end, and then obviously the end. So Manira, I'm going to start with you because although I did not watch it with you, in my mind as I was watching it, I already knew that you were probably a blubbering, sloppy mess as you were watching this episode, especially the first time. So, what was your take on the situation with the family and kind of how things played out?
Fun fact, I was not a blubbering mess the first time. The first time, I absorbed everything.
Yeah?
The second time, everything hit me. And as I was listening to them say the goodbyes that they said with the boys, and then the basic breaking down what their love means to one another and how her love for Vision was able to make the vision of her thoughts and dreams and her pain and grief, that's when I started to blubber. But no, I mean, we got a superhero family. Yay. When they all look like the fucking Incredibles.
Yeah, they literally had the Incredibles pose going.
Fantastic.
And I was like, all right, I'll give you that one.
I love the Incredibles. So I was like, yeah, no, fly fucking around and, take care of the military, boys. You were born for this. Take care of that. And they're I love those little boys. Not so much Speed, but fucking Wiccan. Oh, his fucking face. They did such a good job with the casting of that little boy.
Yeah.
I care about him so fucking much. I care about him so much.
It might not be the last time you see him.
I hope it's not. Maybe not that little boy, but I feel like we'll see Wiccan and Speed again.
Yeah, it feels like, especially with the stinger that we get at the end, like we might see a version of them, or we might see those same two actors again.
I hope it's those two.
I hope so too.
God, I hope it's those two. So, Eric, what was your take on the family situation and just kind of Wanda's evolution in general from where we started to where we ended?
I'm 1,000% happy with the way that this story played out. Like, I knew, as I said before in previous episodes, we would get a happy ending, but I knew we weren't going to get a happy ending for Wanda and Vision and their family. There was just no way for this to work out, and they did it the way that if I was writing the show, I would have gone the same route with them kind of getting their final goodbyes, but at the same time being exactly where we were when we left off emotionally.
Yeah.
But Wanda clearly has been on a vision because you see what I did there. Wanda's been on a quest, and she's learned a lot about herself, her powers, and clearly she's awakened this creature, the Scarlet Witch, which is apparently prophesized kind of like the Phoenix, but not a mutant. So go fuck yourself, internet. And from the stinger we get at the end, she is advancing on those powers. I don't know if she took the Darkhold from.
I'm positive she
Agatha?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agatha,
I'm positive she did.
And I feel like the next time we see Wanda, if it really is in Doctor Strange, which I believe I was watching Jimmy Kimmel the other night and they interviewed her, and she said she's currently in London filming Doctor Strange 2.
Okay.
So we're going to see her again in that, and I feel like we're going to have an even more powerful version of Wanda by then.
I think when she blipped away and she saw Agatha, she was either taking the Darkhold or she was reading something up on the Darkhold, because that's when she did.
Yeah, I think that's when she was casting
runes.
her runes around the hex.
And so I think that's when she got the Darkhold from Agatha, because Agatha was too busy watching Monica and the boys.
Yeah,
and she was getting ready to do something there too. So yeah, that's when I think she got it.
I just think that the way that they ended it with the family and her getting to say her goodbyes was really, really important and critical to the character herself and her development, because now I think that the Wanda we see in the future is not going to be as emotional or not going to be driven by her grief at least, right?
Yeah.
Now she's going to be very focused, as we'll talk in a little bit, you saw in the stinger. She's going to be very focused. She is going to be really trying to harness her power and understand exactly what she is.
More knowledgeable.
And that is scary.
Yeah.
That is hella scary when you think about it. So I think that it was just incredibly well done.
Well, yeah, because in this show, she's turning her grief into a reality as kind of a coping mechanism. And she did it kind of without thinking about it, which just shows her true power. But like anyone with natural talent plus practice and ability, you're going to get the peak version of that person.
Yeah.
So I think when we see her next, especially seeing her, flipping them pages, getting her Doctor Strange on, just being very litigious with her reading, like we're gonna get kind of a badass, even more so than we had before.
So excited.
Absolutely. So let's move on, because the one thing that this series did was they really did try to tie up all of the loose ends before they wrapped, or as they wrapped, which means that we've got to talk about the trio and what was going on with them and what we think is going to be going on moving forward. So Eric, let's start with you. Obviously, Monica is kind of the Diana Ross of these Supremes, but there was a little something for each of them. So Eric, what was your take on how we ended with the trio in this series?
I will say the one thing that I was a little disappointed about was that we only had Darcy for like one scene, and she got like 2 lines and kind of disappeared. And then even at the end, she's like, "Oh, well, Darcy said, she said this," and then she took off.
Do you think that there's something to read into with that?
I would hope so, but at the same time, I hope she shows up in Thor: Love and Thunder.
I just feel like,
I don't know if it was maybe like an editing decision, and they were like, "Oh, well, we shot this, but we don't really need it. And we're trying to get to all the, we got to hit beat A, B, and C, and a couple of extra lines for Darcy don't really, like, we got to bring back Darcy, and we got to see her, evolve as a character, but we don't really need her for the rest of this series. We'll let it be serious with Wanda and Vision, and then we'll keep her out of the stingers, the 2 that we got."
Why, Manira, do you think that there's more to it?
I don't.
With Darcy?
Well, on first watch, no, but then second, I don't know. I mean, I guess she could just tell Jimmy, "No, I don't want to be debriefed right now. I want to go home because I've been in the hex and you haven't."
Yeah.
And so that has been working, wearing on me. But then also, I don't know.
I would hope maybe they don't want to tell it to Jimmy, because Jimmy is very Earth-based.
Yeah.
Maybe because the reveal that we get with Monica is that she's going to go up into space to see Nick Fury, because she meets another Skrull. And at first I was like, wait, what? Why is she not reacting differently? And I forgot she knew Skrulls from her childhood.
Right.
So maybe the Skrulls got to her and were like, "Hey, come to space with us. Just don't tell Jimmy."
Yeah.
Because you're a smart human, you know about the radiation.
Keep Jimmy
and all
out.
that.
What my wish for Jimmy is that after Monica meets with Nick Fury and gets the plan on what Sword should actually be from what her mother wanted it to be, comes back down to Sword and goes to Jimmy and is like, "Hey, I need somebody that I know I can trust. Come on over to Sword."
Yeah, I would like to see Jimmy take on. Like, Monica is going to be doing a lot more superhero and space stuff. I'd like to see Jimmy take on the Tyler role, and do it, as someone with a fucking conscience.
Right. Yeah.
But can we talk about Tyler for a second, though? If I had to give a negative, that would be my only negative. That I felt like they were trying to wrap up so much so quickly that some things got exactly the amount of attention that they deserved, and then other things didn't. Like, I wish they would have made the episode maybe 10 to 15 minutes longer, so that we could have properly tied up some of these loose ends.
I think this was also the longest. I think it was at almost 46 minutes. So.
Yep, it was the longest one.
Should have been an hour.
It should.
But like Darcy trapping him, and then you see him being hauled off in handcuffs, like, that just was not enough. Like, nowhere near what I wanted for him.
I feel like he was our red herring villain the whole time. Like, his whole purpose was to get us to White Vision, which he did. But at the same time, like, they still leave him in play. He goes to jail. Who knows who he meets in jail? You know, kind of like in Spider-Man: Homecoming, where you know the Vulture goes to jail, but he meets the Scorpion in jail, and you know. So it's one of those things where
if he's in Gen Pop, he'll meet a list of
whole
people.
lot of people.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too, and we also still don't know whether or not Hayward was working for himself or working for someone else.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping that we would get at least a little bit of a clue or a little insight into that, and we didn't. So that was a little
it's one of those things where you have so many stories going on at once. Like you got to wrap up the main things as best as can, and if you have some you know, a couple of little breadcrumbs that fall off to the side, you know, just let him be
until he pops up again.
Yeah.
which as we know, they always pop up again.
Right.
If they don't die, we're gonna see them again.
That is one of the things I do love about Marvel is like they'll bring back a character. Like in Spider-Man: Far From Home, the engineer that worked for Stark, who was in Iron Man 1, who was also what's named from A Christmas Story. But like they brought him back a decade plus later.
Yeah.
After a minor role getting yelled at by Obadiah Stane, like,
right.
and he's one of our main villains in the movie.
Now.
I was like, yeah, I love that. Bring back these little characters every now and again.
I think we will. I think he may be a foil for the trio and the humans in our orbit. And this wasn't really their story, but they were associated with the story. So when we get to their actual story, then I think Hayward will come back.
Yeah, like whatever happens to Jimmy, I think we might see him and Jimmy interact again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Disney, you can give us an Agents of S.W.O.R.D. show. I'm good with that.
I would love that.
You
Do
kind
it
of
right,
got that
do it right.
with Agents. Yeah, they touched on bits of that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then they screwed it all up. Like they had the thing where they were like, oh, they're going to space, so now they're going to be Agents of S.W.O.R.D. And then they were like, no, it's a future paradox thing, and then it's not going to matter after another season, and then we'll kill off a character, but they'll bring him back. All I wanted was a Deathlock show out of that, and they never gave it to me.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's
Disney,
a new day.
You've
It's
got
a new
material
dawn,
for
right?
days.
More importantly, we got full confirmation of Monica's powers in this show.
Ooh.
Like she went
Yeah,
full
we
spectrum,
did.
Yeah.
and like bullets were passing through her, and
Fuck him for trying to kill those kids.
Yeah. Well,
with
I mean,
no conscience.
None.
He was just like, fuck
they
these
weren't
kids.
real. They're not real
Yeah,
kids.
but he didn't
know
well,
that.
He was shooting real bullets
Right.
at them. Okay,
No shrug. No fucking shrug.
here's the thing about Monica before we move on that I do want to touch on.
You can't kill someone's imaginary friend.
Stop it. Well, he tried.
Yeah,
He
he
tried.
was gonna try.
Big Bird would have something to say about that. Thank you very much.
How do we feel about her seeming to know how to just use her power?
I don't know that she knew. I think she was just covering those kids. I think
do
it
you
was
think,
just
Eric?
her.
Yeah, I think
being
I think she legit was just
Yeah.
trying. She would have sacrificed herself to save the kids because
Yeah.
that just seems like her character.
But also, she delivered those kids.
Yeah,
So I don't
So
think
they were
she knew.
like
I think,
ex facto, they were her babies too.
Yeah, I
Got
think
it.
that she just.
she was basically their godmother.
Yeah. We don't shoot kids because we don't.
Yeah.
And I've gotta protect them. So I think I don't think that she. I don't
He
think
gave
that
her the
was
push
using
that she
her
needed
power.
to like
Yeah.
fully activate her powers.
Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing to think about because she also is strong as fuck.
Yes.
And we just got
Well,
a
traditionally, we
glimpse.
don't know her full set of powers in the MCU yet.
I feel like they're gonna come correct. I don't feel like they introduce her in the show, show us her powers, allude to the fact that we know we're gonna see her in Captain Marvel, and
No.
then
I'm just
give
saying,
her
I don't-
bullshit powers.
I don't
feel
want
like
them
they're gonna give
to-
her most.
I don't want them to like again with the fanboys and the history of the character. Like you don't have to do everything of the history of the character.
I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, if you want to tweak them a little bit, like maybe don't give her flight off the break, or maybe don't
Yeah.
let her evolve.
Well, we'll have a whole movie for that.
Yeah,
Ugh.
we're gonna see all the little Marvels in there because Miss Marvel's gonna be in it too.
I enjoyed her telling Wanda, like Wanda's like, so you don't hate me, and she's like, no, like given your power,
Yeah,
I know
I
I'd
would've
bring
done
my
it
mom.
too.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't hate you, Wanda, at all. Because there would have been a giant hex around my house that I'm in currently, and y'all would have just dealt with it. Sorry.
Yeah, Again, you can try to make Wanda the villain, but she's really not
really
the
not.
villain. Like, depression and grief and,
Yeah.
therapy should be your superhero.
Like literally, no one is the villain because Agatha was trying to get power. She wasn't like, she was even like, look, I just want your power. I'll try to show you how to fix this, and you can keep this little reality.
Yeah, I'll let you keep this bullshit if that's what you want.
Yeah, she was not like, I want to rule the world. It was
a means to an end.
Right. But I think that she also leveled with her, like, listen, girl, now that I've got this power, I want to let you know this is always going to be broken.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's no way you can try to fix it, but it's always going to be broken somehow.
Yeah.
Sorry,
maybe
sweetheart.
Therapy isn't magic. Maybe you should look into some of that.
Right.
But therapy can be magical, y'all.
Yeah.
Therapy can be
It can
magical.
be a transformative experience. You don't literally have to hijack a town in New Jersey.
You do not. No, knowing or non-knowing.
Yeah.
You do not.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, I mean, with that, obviously, we love the show. We want more. We know we're not going to get more of this particular series, but we want more of these MCU series in general. I know that
I'm 1,000% happy with them doing this mini-series route.
Absolutely.
And I know Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to only be 6 episodes, so we're not going to get as much of it.
6?
Yeah, just 6.
But are they 6 30-minute or 6 hour?
I don't know. I would assume they're 6 longer episodes, but yeah, Anthony Mackie confirmed it the other day. He was like, "Yeah, there's 6 episodes."
Damn it! God damn it!
No, I'm good with that.
Fuck you! I'm not.
Also, next week, I know there's a break between this and then Falcon Winter Soldier. There's a week, but next week Disney will be dropping a making of documentary of WandaVision, the series.
And I'm going to eat it up.
Yeah, I'm going to eat it right up because they're going to do all the behind the scenes stuff, and that drops next Friday.
All of it. I want all of it.
Yeah.
Done and done.
So,
similar to the way they did with the Mandalorian Gallery series.
All right. So I know that we had some feedback this week. I know we have one voicemail. Did we have anything besides the voicemail?
We had an add-on to the voicemail.
Okay. Well, Manira, then I will let you set this up. Because, grab bags are kind of your thing. As far as the extra to the voicemail.
Okay.
So,
I was like, I don't usually do the voicemails. What's going on? What are you talking about? I got so worried.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and let's listen to the voicemail first. And then you can tell us about whatever the add-on was.
Okay.
Hi, guys. It's your brother, KB, coming at you again. Decided to chime in with the old voice and let you know what I thought about the last episode. First off, Jimmy Woo is the man. Wanda and Agatha, that fight scene was movie level. And hearing Agatha tell Wanda that she's going to be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, boom. Next up, we have White Vision. I'm glad that he got his memories restored. We'll see how that plays out because he's not the same person, even though he has his memories back. Up next, we got Monica. Glad she's got her powers going, and now that she's beamed up to the skulls, and I'm hoping Nick Fury. Can't wait to see how that plays out. I can see her being part of the new Avengers, definitely. Up next, that last credit scene. Wanda studying like Doc Strange in the cabin in the woods. All I'm gonna say is, Doctor Strange next movie is gonna be totally awesome. Anyway, that's all my thoughts from the last episode. I'm glad Disney stepped up and went all out for this show, and can't wait to see what the next one's going to bring us. Hopefully it can match or at least not be disappointing. And that's all I got to say. Oh, yeah. And in response to the query about apologizing about Eric being right all the time, I got one thing to say about that. I ain't taking it back. If you got a problem with it, see the big dog. Woof, woof.
He's not wrong. Shouldn't have to take it back.
All right. Oh, it was all going so well. And then we're just gonna disregard the last 20 seconds of that voicemail. But I feel like KB hit all the notes, right? That we've been talking about. Like,
he was completely right that the fight was movie level, and that's what happens when you put some real money and creative forces behind it.
When you get to be the favorite child, that's what happens, right?
Yeah. Mommy's little star.
It's always fun to be mommy's little star.
Mm-hmm. She's putting your drawings on the fridge.
Oh my gosh! All right, so
the Hulu and Netflix kids, their drawings are in the trash. They just put them in a folder somewhere.
They're down in the cupboard.
They're like, sure, Punisher, your show was cute. Oh, I get it. You used a lot of red. Ooh, mommy's little boy's a big boy now.
All right, so Manira, what was the add-on? Because you said that KB had an add-on to his voicemail. What was the add-on?
Okay, so he says, "Hi guys, this is in addition to my voicemail. I just realized Wanda's new uniform is a version of Magneto's. Now this is the Fox Magneto. See picture. And which ending was better, WandaVision or Mandalorian?"
I feel like WandaVision is more tightly wraps up things. Somebody mentioned to me the other day, they were like, there's no Luke Skywalker reveal type ending of this. And I agree, but at the same time, I feel like this is more emotionally impactful.
Yeah.
I feel some kind of way about that, right? Because not gonna lie, when we talked about The Mandalorian, when it ended, I, like every other Star Wars nerd out there, was completely stoked about the Luke Skywalker sequence. But in retrospect, it's a little bit of lazy writing, right? It's real easy to just send him off with Luke Skywalker and have all of the fans lose their shit because you brought back Luke Skywalker. I think that what WandaVision and the writers of WandaVision did was a lot more difficult, because they could have easily gone that lazy route of like, oh, mutants, oh, big reveal, oh, here's Doctor Strange, oh, here's whatever. And they didn't do any of that. They kept it tight. They wrote an ending that was incredibly impactful and appropriate for the
Wanda.
Show and for Wanda. So I actually think that this is a better ending.
I think it is a better ending, but I also am not going to shit on The Mandalorian, because I feel like them working in Luke Skywalker within the timeline of, because this is perfectly the timeline of Luke picking up new Jedi pupils and leads up to what happened in The Last Jedi. So I think that was great, not to mention it's kind of the culmination of 40 years worth of history. Like I watched a lot of some of them actually made me cry, of like people showing their parents that episode of The Mandalorian where Luke Skywalker shows up, and you can see that like these fucking nerds that have been invested in Star Wars since the late 70s, and they're now in their 50s, 40s and 50s, like these grown-ass men crying because Luke Skywalker showed up, and it's all that they've wanted for the last 30 plus years. It's very emotional. I think it worked for the story, but it's not the same emotion that you get from WandaVision. Both are good. Like you're both pretty. You're both daddy's favorites.
Yeah, no, there can be only one.
Yeah.
That's why you have two parents. One who, clearly MCU is mommy's favorite and Star Wars is daddy's favorite.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I agree with you that for some folks, it was like that big, finally he's back on screen.
It was the
blah,
payoff.
blah, blah. But it's still, he comes through. He does, like, I think the thing that I loved about it the best was that it mirrored or mimicked Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
In how they shot it, and I thought that was very apropos. But outside of that, it still felt a little easy to me.
Well, it's
versus
also
what they did with WandaVision.
Yeah,
so I think
emotionally it hits on two different levels. I'm just saying both are good, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
I prefer this just on like an emotional level, because I feel like they accomplished in 9 episodes what it took Star Wars 40 years to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And we both know that Kevin only wants what you say. So anyways, let's just...
Also, I enjoyed the picture that he sent. The only problem with that picture, and while I enjoy Magneto and most of the X-Men movies, that's his costume from Apocalypse, and we all know Apocalypse was fucking trash.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see them like fully embrace the red outfit and gave her proper superhero costume that wasn't just like a a jacket and a vest or some shit. Like this is
And
this
throwing
feels like
some moose.
Yeah.
Hold on. And throwing some
yeah.
moose
They gave
in
her the
that
big hair. I was like,
Because
is this
they
90s
had
Scarlet
They
Witch
had
drawings?
her hair all over the place.
Mhm.
And when she came down in full Scarlet Witch, I'm like, you are a baddie.
Mhm.
You are a baddie right now. I
Mhm.
love everything about this. All right. So, every episode to this point, we've kind of wrapped up with some last minute conspiracies. And while the show is done, again, guys, the show is done. I'm so tired of people being like, oh, the season finale. It wasn't a season finale.
It's a
It's a
mini
It's a
series.
mini
It's done.
series.
Yeah.
It's done, y'all. There's not going to be WandaVision season 2. We still got some last minute conspiracies to kind of discuss because we finally got some stingers, more than one, at the end of this episode. So, Manira, I think I'm going to go with you first. Based on the stingers that we got, do you have any last minute conspiracies?
I think I said the one already for the first stinger with Monica going up, getting her marching orders from Nick Fury and what they've been doing up in the space station and coming back down and implementing that into the real sword. Like I said, I want her to take Jimmy. I also want her to take Darcy, because those are her friends, and put them into sword and people that she can trust.
It would be nice to see her pop up, like her in space with Nick Fury, because I have a feeling they don't say him by name, but they're like, oh, an old friend of your mom's, he wants to meet you in space.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's only Nick Fury.
clearly
That's
it's
the
Nick
only
Fury,
old friend.
but I'm
Right.
assuming Nick Fury will also show up in Captain Marvel 2. And I know I was watching Brie Larson has her YouTube channel, and she mentioned that they're going to begin filming Captain Marvel 2 in like the next couple weeks. So
Also, her YouTube is delightful.
it's adorable. Yeah.
If you're not
She-
watching
Brie
her
Larson's?
YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, she has her, like, a lot of people gave her shit about like, oh, she's so unlikable. She mentioned that like she has social anxiety disorder and she's very much an introvert, and like a lot of the people take her seriousness as being antisocial or being, the typical thing where if you're a woman and you say what you
Smile,
mean,
sweetheart.
yeah, they're like, oh, well, she's just a bitch. Like,
Yeah.
no, like let her have her, like her YouTube channel is her talking about the things that she enjoys, or like, talking about her workout regime, getting in shape for Captain Marvel 2, or like just trying to bake some cookies, or like she's a huge Nintendo nerd and she loves Animal Crossing and like the Nintendo Switch and things like that. She did a whole ad campaign with
did,
Nintendo
It's
for the Switch.
She's adorable.
Yeah.
Like,
She's
I thought-
so
yeah.
likable, and like the internet hates her for some
They
reason
hate her.
because she made she mentioned like she didn't care about the opinions of white men or something like that, and like the white men came out of nowhere and were like, how dare you? How
Yeah.
dare you tell us we can't be in charge after hundreds of years of being in
So-
charge?
I've got zero problems with her in
Yeah.
general. I am here for her telling everyone to shut the fuck up. But also, I really love her as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, you ask any fucking angry white nerd on the internet, they'll tell you that Captain Marvel is the worst Marvel movie. And while it does have problems thematically, like it's a pretty good movie, and it still made over $1 billion. So
all right.
Right.
yeah, no,
Okay.
it has issues with the story,
Okay.
just like kind of fitting it into that 90s chunk.
So we're trying to say that Captain Marvel's worse than
Thor Dark World?
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
that's
yes,
out there.
yes, certain people, yeah. But no, they're just angry. Like her YouTube channel is very fun. Like she's lately she's been doing a lot of things where she talks to other people about the impact of the Captain Marvel character. And like there's a pro wrestler in the WWE that like uses like a version of her uniform as her costume, and like she had this whole emotional episode with her while they were like working out or whatever. It's really good.
It is.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check it out. I did not know that.
But the internet hates anyone who doesn't agree with what the internet says. So
Right. All right. Well, I want to talk about that second stinger because the first one's cute, and I
That's
think
the
we
big
all
one.
know where that was going.
yeah,
But that second one, what do we think? I know that we have kind of theorized before that Wanda could be the bad in the next Doctor Strange movie. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that she's going to come in and do some badass shit, but I don't think she's going to be the bad now, because at least it seems like she's starting to work through her shit. That said, though, it could still be the case because you heard the kids saying, "Mom, I need help."
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
kind of we touched on before when we talked about Agatha episodes back, and the fact that at some point she actually helps restore the kids. What do we think is going on here, and do we think it's going to have a major impact on Doctor Strange 2?
I would like it to not be that she is the villain, but that someone else is trying to come and take her power.
My theory on that would be like, yeah, I think this Scarlet Witch persona, which is very like, you know, Phoenix-ish, I feel like she might be being influenced. Like someone is there. This might be actually Mephisto. And I'll give it to you if I'm wrong. And it really is Mephisto in Doctor Strange. But I didn't want it to be like, this is why it's Mephisto. This is why it's Mephisto every single episode. Like if it pops up that like he was behind a lot of this and like just putting the whisper in her ear, like you can do what you can make it real without the consequences. And you see that in her post credit where she's clearly studying this Darkhold for everything that she can, and that's when she hears the kids' voices. So I'm assuming maybe she, you know, the whole Doctor Strange 2 is called the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So like maybe she's found a dimension where they exist, or she like I feel like we'll find like in the comics where they're by hook or by crook they become real people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want it. And I want it to be that little boy.
I love the runes on the cabin.
Yeah.
Yes, me as well. I want that little boy as well.
I also enjoy that she went straight Incredible Hulk. Like I'm gonna move to the Alaskan wilderness where no one's around and no one can bother me.
Right, and I can't bother them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this has been a literal roller coaster of emotion.
Or with Wanda, maybe her being in the Alaskan wilderness, she's created another smaller hex just that no one knows where she is. Because I'm pretty sure the government is probably looking for her after everything that happened. So who knows?
Although they shouldn't. Leave her the fuck alone.
Well, she did still kind of kidnap
their
people.
Heads hurt for a couple weeks.
Yeah, they're eternal torment. Just a little bit of eternal torment.
I've already told
suck
you,
it up,
fuck
New Jersey.
Those people, right? Suck it up.
You live in New Jersey. It's bad enough. God.
Exactly.
And
this isn't even the worst thing that's happened to you.
She really cleaned up your little town. Your town was a shit town, and she really cleaned that up. But
I felt bad saying it the last time, but then when the hex was coming in, I was like, oh, someone needs to rake these leaves. Jesus Christ. Wash that fucking Hyundai. Do something with this town.
Nope.
Yes. Ugh.
Wanda did, and they got it in there. They got all upset about it.
They were like, "Oh, she made a perfect recreation of the '50s without the racism, guys.
Right.
Can we just stay here?"
Nope. Heaven forbid. All right, guys. Well, as always, we definitely want to thank you for listening and watching. If you like this episode, please rate us, drop a review. You know, just acknowledge the fact that you like us. Also, make sure that you tell a friend that will actually listen, or tell another friend. I mean, y'all work it out. Y'all know how this goes.
We like you too.
We do.
You listening or watching right now, we like you too. We like you just the way you are. Shout out to Mr. Rogers.
There it is. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, obviously, and to the podcast. As we do lots of different things, you can get all of it to the podcast. Yeah, because we give kisses, wow. Eric. Right.
I mean, when you got these big succulent lips, you do it.
Ooh.
Sir.
Hey.
Ooh, all right.
They've been called DSLs before. They're not wrong.
Yes.
Wow.
All right, guys. Before we devolve into the multiverse of madness, we do want to let you know that we have branched out. We are doing this podcast specifically for all of our
multiverse of madness.
It is our multiverse of madness. We're doing this one specifically for our Marvel fans. Marvel. Now I'm from New Jersey.
When did Terrence Howard show up?
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Let's talk about these Marvels.
We won't have a Herald episode next week. However, we will be back for the premiere.
I was going to say, because if we did one next week, it would just be an hour of me talking about the visual effects behind WandaVision when they do this little behind-the-scenes episode. No one wants that.
Somebody might.
Maybe.
We'll talk about it.
Right, we'll talk about it.
Listen, as of right now, we don't plan on doing an episode next week, but we will be back for the premiere of
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Say it right, bitch.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, sorry. The Fuckboy and Winter Soldier.
Madam.
And so we hope that you will come back and watch it with us, and listen to me probably talk shit about Anthony Mackie while loving the show.
You can talk all the shit you want about his weird shaped head, or the fact
I
that
hate him.
Yeah, he just has a weird face. But I watched his Hot Ones interview this week, and he talked about like him being at Juilliard and being a professional like play actor and all that. I was like, okay, I give you respect as an actor. It doesn't mean you don't look like a fucking like that old Snoop video where like the people turned into dogs. He looks like he's kind of stuck in between.
Stuck in between. He does. Yeah. That's actually very good.
He can't help that.
Anyway,
and that's why I respect him as an actor, and I will respect the show. He's just weird looking.
Anyway, if you are into MMA, you can join us for Throwing Bows. And as a matter of fact, there's some pretty big fights this weekend. So we'll be talking about those. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be crazy. And then lastly, if you're into POCs, talking about British shows, we have Cup and Saucer for you. I know you guys...
Saucy. Right, it's all full of the sauce, isn't it?
Oh British, and we're branching out to French.
Yeah, we're going to go European. We just wrapped up, as of yesterday, we just wrapped up on Gangs of London, which was a violent delight. I suggest you go and listen to those. So we're jumping into Netflix's Lupin starting next week.
We're excited.
Full disclosure, I'm just now getting into Benedict Cumberbatch's Sherlock Holmes, and I've been binge watching it. Y'all can go back and do that one too. I mean, I know it's an oldie but goodie, but still, oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. All
right. I may also recommend, if you enjoy Benedict Cumberbatch, go check out Four Lions. It's one of his first roles, and he plays a hostage negotiator. It's amazing. He's not even in the movie for very long, but warning, it is about Islamic suicide bombers, but it's a comedy. So go check that out. It's really funny. Right. It's a black comedy.
And this was before this was
before Sherlock and all that. Yeah, he plays a suicide negotiator who is very weird.
Maybe if you watch it, you can spot when he learns to actually act as a human. And
I think this was one of he wasn't playing a role. He just like picked a human and he was like, "Oh, that's what they do. I'm going to talk about asses."
Got it.
All right. And then lastly, guys, we are still doing the show that started it all in Concentrated. So make sure that you check all of those out. You can also be like KB and give us feedback. You can send questions and any feedback you have via email to our email address, which is concentratedpodcast@gmail.com. You can drop a message on our Facebook page, which is just Concentrated Podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram and do what KB did. Slide up into our DMs on Instagram to give us more insight, share pictures, whatever you like.
Whatever.
You know, we like you. We're friends.
Yeah.
Our handle is @ConcentratedPod. And then lastly, you can also be like KB and leave us a voicemail, but don't just agree with Eric because we don't like those voicemails. That number is 301.
You can say whatever the fuck you want.
Right, but you're not right all the time, so don't lie.
You're not right all the time.
Just don't lie.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't do that.
I've been right a very large number of them.
Oh, I feel like that Robert Downey Jr. meme.
Where he's just like, and then putting the
Yeah, exactly. But anyhow, you can
really
leave
you
us
could be
a
the Robert
voicemail.
Downey Jr. meme with him smelling something. He's like, oh.
Get out of here.
Be that
You're
meme.
a loser.
No.
Anyway, our phone
KB,
number...
that's your meme. That's you. You're just like, a breath of fresh air, telling these people what's what.
Anyway.
Telling these women what's what? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, you hear that. No.
Nope.
You heard.
I said people.
These people.
These
Got
people.
it. Got
the
it.
whole
These
internet.
people.
Ladies, gents, theys, thems, anyone.
All right, guys. Our voicemail phone number is 301-531-4393. Again, that is 301-531-4393. So that is it for this week. We will see you for sure in 2 weeks. Might see you next week. Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll
see how much is in that episode. But yeah, definitely for Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Have a great day.
Peace.
Bye.